Welcome to day 20 of 30 days of eating for me and my dog after 5 years on carnivore diet. And at the end of each video, I go over a complete nutritional breakdown as well as the cost. So I'm spending the day at the lake today. I did prep my food and I took it with me because I don't want to take a chance of not having food available to me that I'm able to consume on a carnivore diet. So the best thing for me to do is to prep my food ahead of time and bring it with me. So here's what I'm gonna prep and have ready to go for day 20. All right, I have a 5-ounce wild caught salmon fillet, skin on. Mussels, I have 4 ounces. 5 ounces of 75/25 local ground beef. 2 ounces of extra sharp cheddar. And a half a stick of organic butter. That's 4 tablespoons. All right, day 20, supper for the pupper. Now obviously if I'm at the lake, I'm not gonna be around to feed my dog, but I prepped her food last night and I put it in glass containers, so everything's already pre-proportioned and it's 100% ready to go. Now I handed all this food off to my parents and they're actually watching my dog for me today. So the only thing they have to do is pop the lid off this stuff and they can give it to her directly out of the bowls if they want. So there is no excuse to feed her anything other than the food that I provided for her. And with that said, let me show you what I put together and hand it over to my parents to feed her tonight. All right, so pretty typical meal. I've got chicken leg quarter in here with some chicken back, and this is 14 ounces here, so this is 76 cents. I also have some local venison. I sourced this myself, so this is totally free, and this is 3 ounces. I've got 3 ounces of chicken feet in here, aka 2 chicken feet, and the 3 ounces of chicken feet is 42 cents. I've got 4 ounces of local ground beef. This is 80/20 from my local butcher shop. I get this for $2.99 a pound, so 4 ounces is 76 cents. And I have 4 ounces of chicken gizzards. I get these for $1.29 a pound, so 4 ounces is 32 cents. And then I also have 1 cup of bone broth, which is still slightly frozen. And the total cost for everything that you see here, this is 28 ounces of food, is $2.26. And that breaks down to $1.29 a pound. All right, day 20 dinner, here's what I'm working with. I have 2 free-range eggs, which I will consume the yolks only. I've got 4 ounces of pork brains, 4 ounces of chicken leg quarters with skin on, deboned, 4 ounces of pork chop, 5 ounces of 75/25 local ground beef, 2 ounces of extra sharp cheddar, and another half a stick of organic butter, 4 tablespoons. So on the left, we have breakfast, as well as the cheese and the butter. And then on the right, we have dinner. Never an excuse to not adhere to this diet. And this is gonna be a pretty optimized day, I think. Now, if you're somebody who suffers from histamine intolerance, then putting food in the fridge overnight and eating it the next day is probably a no-go. And this probably wouldn't have flown for me back when I was sick, but now that I've healed and my gut is in good shape and I've overcame my histamine intolerance, I can handle doing this. It doesn't bother me at all. So this may not be for everybody, but if you're able to do it, this is a really good option if you don't think you're gonna have access to the right foods when you're on the go. All right, so obviously all my food is in the cooler here. It's on ice. I've got everything packaged up, ready to eat. So this morning for breakfast, I have my 4 ounces of mussels. I have a 5-ounce salmon fillet, as well as a 4-ounce burger patty. I do have a 1/4 teaspoon of eggshell powder for some extra calcium. And of course, I have my 2 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese and half a stick of butter. And you know I can't leave the house without my pink Himalayan salt. So the total cost for breakfast is $4.94. And again, I'm trying to optimize the diet, so some of this food is a little more on the expensive side, but $4.94 for breakfast still is not bad. What up? What up? All right, so for my second meal, I've got another 2 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese, as well as a half a stick of butter. I have some pork brains. This is 4 ounces. Yes, I brought pork brains with me specifically for the vitamin C content. And in here, I have 2 free-range eggs, 4 ounces of pork, 4 ounces of chicken, and 5 ounces of ground beef. So all that food there, that was 25 ounces of food. All right, so I did a cost breakdown on that last night when I prepped it, and the total cost for all that food came out to $4.91. Now breakfast was $4.94, which I think I mentioned, and that was roughly 20 ounces of food. And my dog's meal was $2.26. All right, so just my two meals, breakfast and dinner, came out to $9.85. And then when you include my dog's food, the $2.26, it came out to $12.11 for the day. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the nutrition. We'll go ahead and do the nutrition breakdown for the day. And by the way, I am eating this food cold. I'm not heating it up. I do have a little grill on my boat, but it's rare that I pull it out and actually heat food up on there, because I don't mind eating cold meat. I actually kind of enjoy it. All right, so total calories consumed today was 3,265 calories. So that put me at a surplus of 471 calories, which my target calories is already set at a 400 calorie surplus. So I'm actually about 800 calories over. All right, so my fat to protein ratio today, it was actually a little bit more on the high fat side. So I got 67% of my calories came from fat and 31% came from protein. Total protein consumed 240 grams. Total fat consumed 247 grams. All right, vitamin C. So vitamin C actually is up there pretty decent today, 35%. And a lot of that came from the muscles and the brain. And that's specifically why I chose to include those today, because I was trying to keep my vitamin C as high as possible without going overboard with the organs and including liver and things like that. So 35% from those products is actually really good. My body isn't competing with glucose to absorb vitamin C, so this vitamin C is going to be very bioavailable, and that's going to be more than enough to stave off any kind of vitamin C deficiency that I could possibly ever develop. So no issues there, and that's not too bad for a day on the go. Iron, almost 3 times my RDA, I'm good there. B12, 18 times my RDA, obviously good there. Iron and B12 is always going to be pretty high when you're eating red meat, when you're eating basically any kind of animal product. Calcium, 140%, met my RDA on calcium. That was no problem. And a lot of that came from the eggshell powder. That's like 95% calcium carbonate. So very, very high in calcium and a very bioavailable source as well. Folate, 66%. Not bad. And overall, that's a pretty easy one to bump up, especially when you include organs and stuff like that. It comes up really, really high, really fast. Vitamin A, 1.7 times my RDA. Pretty optimal range there as well. Potassium, 82%. Again, that's in the upper portion of the RDA. I'm happy with that. I could have easily bumped that the rest of the way up by including a little bit more seafood or a little bit more red meat, and that would have came on up. All right, B vitamins, all my other B vitamins, I met or exceeded my RDA on every single one, so I'm good there. All right, vitamin D, 108%. So obviously vitamin D is not a problem today because I've been out in the sun all day long, and I've got a pretty good tan going here. My background is Cherokee Indian, so I get tan really, really easy. I can go outside for like 15 minutes and get like 5 shades darker. Vitamin E, 94%. Again, this is right up there in the top portion of the RDA. I am totally fine with that. All right, vitamin K. I would venture to say that I met my RDA and vitamin K again today, specifically because I included pork and chicken. And like I've mentioned in the previous few videos, Chronometer does not like vitamin K for some reason, and it does not track it in the foods that are very high in vitamin K. So pork, for example, has over 50% of your RDA in just 3 ounces, and chicken has 43% of your RDA in just 3 ounces. So I consumed 4 ounces of each today, plus the foods that it's saying had vitamin K, so I'm well over my RDA and vitamin K. Copper, almost 1.5 times my RDA, so I'm good there. I did pretty good on magnesium today, actually, 68%. And getting this much bioavailable magnesium through nutrition is pretty fantastic. Manganese, 346% of my RDA, so almost 3.5 times my RDA, which mostly came from mussels. When I included 4 ounces of mussels, that bumped that up really quickly. Phosphorus, 3.75 times my RDA, 375%, almost 7 times my RDA on selenium, so I'm definitely good there as well. Sodium, I'm good on. Again, I just salt my food to taste. Zinc, I've never really had a problem getting zinc up there in the optimal range eating a carnivore diet, because animal products tend to have quite a bit of zinc, which is awesome because zinc is very fundamental for human health. But I got 3 times my RDA on zinc today, so I'm good with that. All right, moving on down the list, lipids, fats, cholesterol, all that good stuff. So I got 4,158 milligrams of cholesterol today, which I'm fine with because cholesterol is essential for human health regardless of what we're told and what they'd like us to believe. So in my opinion, the more cholesterol, the better. My omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is looking pretty good. I got 1.7 times my RDA on omega-3, and omega-6 is just below 70%. And like I say in pretty much all my videos, I'm always happy with getting more omega-3 in terms of RDA and not meeting my RDA on omega-6, because omega-3 is very anti-inflammatory and is essential for brain function and just your overall health, whereas omega-6 can be a little bit more pro-inflammatory. All right, saturated fat, trans fat. So I got 121 grams of saturated fat, and my trans fat is at 7 grams. Again, I'm good with all these fats. Fat, when it comes from animal products and not seed oils, is absolutely essential for human health and really optimizes pretty much everything throughout your entire body. And looking down through here at all of the proteins and essential amino acids, just like every other day, I have met and well exceeded my RDA on every single protein and essential amino acid on the list. And I never expect that to be any different, because when you're eating a carnivore diet, you're getting the most bioavailable forms of protein that are very, very complete. But overall, I mean, not bad. Not a bad day of eating for eating on the go, being on the lake all day, prepping my food last night. Again, I like to be prepared. I don't like to leave anything for chance. And by prepping my food, not only do I have access to the food I would normally eat, and I can still eat an optimal diet, but it's also so much cheaper. So if you're looking to save money, which is very important in today's economy, taking the extra time to prep your food, which is not really that much of an inconvenience, is always going to be the best route. And when it comes to your health, there's nothing inconvenient about optimizing your health, but there is definitely something inconvenient about being sick or being riddled with chronic disease.